Hello, I'm Lana Kay. Well, it's October again, and who doesn't love the fall? Crisp nights, football games, marshmallows roasting over an open fire. But we have to realize it's also a time of ghosts and goblins and bats and witches and things that go bump in the night. It's also time for a popular Halloween show, our most requested show we have ever produced. Watch this at your own risk of not being able to sleep for many, many nights. Once again, in response to the many emails we received, Bobby Mackey's Haunted Nightclub. Hi, welcome to Have Your Say with Lana Kay. Do you believe in ghosts, demons, apparitions? Well, if your answer is yes, you will love today's program. And if your answer is no, you stay with us because today's show just may change your mind. We are broadcasting today from Northern Kentucky's most famous haunted nightclub. We are at Bobby Mackey's nightclub in Wilder, Kentucky, and I am sitting with Doug Hensley. Welcome to the program, Doug.
Thanks, Lana.
And Doug, of course, was our featured speaker on our first program. This is our second visit to Bobby Mackey's. He is our guest speaker because he has written a fascinating book chronicling all the events that have went on right inside this nightclub as well as the surrounding area. So, Doug, it's been quite a while since we visited with you. What have you been up to? Have you written any new books?
Well, I really haven't written any other books. I've been working on a bunch of screenplays. I have 7 movie deals out of Hollywood on screenplays. In fact, one I wrote called The Reaper, Bobby Mackey, I've got him a part in it. He flew to California and went to Yosemite where he appeared in the movie. He also, I also got Bobby the soundtrack rights. They're going to use his soundtrack for the movie. The movie's completed. The filming's done. They're in final stages of editing at this time.
Do we know about when it'll be out?
They're saying probably this spring.
Very good. Very exciting.
Yeah, Bobby was really elated with it. He did a real good part. I got to see some of the film footage, and it was fantastic. He did a real good part in it. I think he now wants to be a movie star, but it turned out real good, real good.
Good, good. Anything else happening in your life?
Yeah, well, with the movie, you know, when I wrote the book Hell's Gate, I also wrote the screenplay, and with the movie, we just finalized a deal with Columbia TriStar Pictures and Spring Creek Entertainment, and they are going to, they're in negotiations right now with Fox TV. Now, as you know, just last week, Fox Network was here. We filmed a show. It's going to be a new Friday night weekly series called In Search Of. And we'll be one of the first shows airing at the end of October, first couple weeks of November. So your viewers may want to watch for that. Again, it's called...
We will watch for that. That's very exciting.
It's called In Search Of, and it'll be on Fox Network. It's going to, like I said, be a new weekly show. Hopefully that'll turn out real good, too.
One segment devoted to the club?
Yes. Yes, one segment. And one thing I would like to tell the viewers is there was really a neat thing that happened here. I've been away from here for a couple years, and I just assumed that everything, all the ghostly activity and stuff had died down. But now that I've come back to do a couple of these TV shows, I'm learning that things are still continuing. I've talked to many people, and I'm starting to make notes. I may end up writing a sequel on this. But while Fox Network was here, numerous girls have told me and women have told me about going into the women's restroom and someone talks to them in one of the stalls next to them, and then the water faucets start coming on, the toilets flush by themselves. Well, when Fox Network was here filming in the restroom, the water faucets, they filmed the water faucets turning on by themselves, one right after another with the actual faucets turning, just like someone was standing there, an invisible person turning them. So I thought that was pretty neat. Finally, we got something on film to show that there is some kind of activity here.
Wow, that is really exciting.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I do want to emphasize on that is Bobby's had plumbers here. They've checked it. It's not faulty plumbing. It's not the pressure. There's no explanation for it.
They just come on by themselves. Doug, when you enter the club, I noticed that you first of all sort of circle the whole place. Why is that?
Well, I just, honestly, it's my opinion there is something unseen entity here.
And you're always checking, you're always looking.
Right. I just go through the place, get a feel for it. There's places in here that bother me. There's places in here that I feel that the presence, whatever it is stronger than others.
Doug, please set the background. Doug, as I said in his fascinating book, Hell's Gate, sets the whole tempo for the happenings that have occurred here and in the surrounding area. So, Doug, I think when people realize the background associated with this place, they understand how this place could so very well be haunted.
Correct.
So set a little background for us, Doug. You do it best.
Okay. Well, in 1896, there was a girl, Pearl Bryan. She was 5.5 months pregnant. She was found murdered about 3 miles from here. At that time, this particular site was a slaughterhouse. And during those years, satanic worshipers came here and worshiped the devil because of the ground spilled on, or the blood spilled on this ground. There was a well, probably not too far from where we're sitting, right underneath us, that led to the Licking River. When the animals were slaughtered here, their blood was washed into the Licking River. That's before EPA or anything existed, and they got away with it. Well, because of that blood, these people, these satanic worshipers, would go down into this well and worship the devil. The 2 men that were found guilty of murdering Pearl Bryan, well, she was decapitated. Her head has never been found to this day. The 2 men on the gallows were offered a life sentence if they would tell the whereabouts of her head. Both men refused. However, Alonzo Walling, one of the men on the gallows, swore a curse on this area, swore a curse on everybody involved in his trial, and said he would come back and wreak havoc forever. It's my opinion Alonzo Walling is one of the spirits here. There's been numerous psychics come in that knew nothing about the story. It was several of them were brought in before the book was even written, and they all called out the name Alonzo. They all, all but one identified Alonzo Walling's spirit as being here and very violent. As you know, in 1978, when Bobby and Janet Mackey took over this place, Janet was also pregnant, 5 months pregnant. She was thrown down a flight of stairs by an invisible force and went into premature labor. She gave birth to a 1-pound, 15.5-ounce baby girl. Thank God the baby lived, and she's now a grown woman. But the gist here is they believe that it was Alonzo Walling's spirit that threw her down the stairs. He's here wreaking havoc. There's been numerous other sightings of Alonzo Walling's spirit being here. People have seen the faint image of a headless woman. In fact, in my book, Hell's Gate, the photographer who took the pictures, there's an outline of a headless woman that's in one of the photographs in the back of the book. I didn't take the photographs. Actually, the photographer who took the pictures didn't see this. It was the art department in the publishing company, when they got ready to publish the book, that actually, when they blew the pictures up, they saw the faint image of a headless woman in the book, or in the photographs. So it's my opinion that Alonzo Walling, Scott Jackson, and Pearl Bryan are here.
What about, there's also a beautiful dance hall girl associated with this place.
That's correct. Her name was Johanna.
Was that during the Latin Quarter days?
Yes,
Primrose?
it was. It was Latin Quarter days. It was back in the 1930s. There was a dance hall girl here named Johanna. There was a singer here named Robert Randall. Well, the singer and Johanna were having an affair. Johanna became pregnant. Now remember that, here's another woman pregnant. Johanna's father murdered Robert Randall. Johanna poisoned herself and poisoned her father. And she left a poem up in the spotlight room over the stage. The poem's faint, but it still exists on the wall upstairs. And it says that she would walk these halls forever, waiting for her Robert Randall to return. Well, if you remember in your first program, when I started my investigation on this story, which took 2 years of investigating and interviewing people, I learned that Bobby Mackey, when he was born, his name was originally Randy Mackey. The day after he was born, he almost died. He started hemorrhaging, and he had to be rushed to the county doctor. And his mother was bedridden from the birth. It was a hard birth. She changed his name to Robert Randall Mackey, the same name as the singer that was murdered here. Now, if you continue on into this, when Bobby Mackey came here to look at this place, he had never stepped foot inside it ever in his life. He stood outside and told the real estate lady what every room looked like in detail. He described it explicitly, room by room, place by place, and Janet Mackey, his wife, and the real estate lady both were in awe. They couldn't believe it, because when they came in, it was exactly what Bobby said. Bobby's wife questioned him about it, And his explanation was he had no explanation. He could not explain it. Mere coincidence, he calls it. To me, it was deja vu. It's my feelings that if there is such thing as reincarnation, Bobby Mackey, Robert Randall Mackey, is his full legal name. Is it possible that he's Robert Randall, the singer, returned? Another thing the viewers should know is Bobby grew up in Concord and Vanceburg area in Kentucky, and he would play on the railroad tracks behind his family's general store. The same railroad tracks that come right behind this nightclub. And Bobby told everybody for years, someday I'm going down those tracks. Something's making me want to go down those tracks. Well, he came down the tracks and purchased this place. And ever since then, all hell has broke loose. That's why I called this my book, Hell's Gate.
Doug, our first show was, as I said earlier, one of our most popular, probably because people just seem to be so fascinated with the paranormal. Why do you think that this captures people's curiosity so much? Because it is so true? Because all the stories are so true that are associated with this place?
Well, let me say this.
I mean, this has lasted a long time that people
Right.
have talked about it
Right.
and visited it.
The book's all over the World Wide Web. The story's all over the World Wide Web. The book came out in 1993. It's still selling. It continues to sell today.
Right.
Because here's my reasoning for this. Not because I wrote the book, but because if you take the Amityville Horror, the police, the clergy, everyone involved said it was a hoax. Here, you have the police, numerous police officers,
numerous.
the clergy, you have psychics, you have customers, you have repair people that come in here that had nothing to do. The place is not open for business. There's no booze being